I stayed hidden at my brother's place, watching the world move on, while I stood still. Every day I woke up to silence. No truck engines, no late-night phone calls from dispatch, no Dana asking what I wanted for dinner, even if she never cooked it. It was strange. The world didn't fall apart because I stopped moving. It just kept going, without me. One morning, Jeff slid a cup of coffee across the table. "You gotta figure out your next move, man," he said. His voice was low, careful, like he was afraid I'd shatter if he pushed too hard. I nodded, but the truth was, I had no idea what my next move even was. I pulled out my laptop, opened the documents Blake had sent me the night before. Divorce papers, asset freeze orders, a thick file of financial records Megan had helped uncover, in black and white. Every lie Dana had told, every dollar she'd siphoned, every plan she'd made, without me. I should have been furious. I should have wanted revenge, but all I felt was this hollow kind of resolve. If Dana thought she'd stolen my future, she was about to learn something important. I don't go down easy. The first real move came a week later. Jeff was outside changing the oil on his truck when he yelled, "Mail's here!" He tossed a thick envelope onto the kitchen counter. I ripped it open. Inside was a formal notice. Dana, through her lawyer, was contesting the emergency asset freeze. She wanted immediate access to the marital funds, claimed she needed them to maintain her standard of living. I stared at the paper and laughed. Not a happy laugh. The kind of laugh that scrapes your throat raw. Standard of living. As if loyalty, decency, could be measured in bank statements. I forwarded the notice to Blake. He called within 10 minutes. "Let her try," he said, his voice calm, almost amused. "We're ready." The next few days were a blur of meetings, depositions, bank statements thicker than textbooks, phone calls with Megan, who uncovered a second hidden account Dana thought I'd never find. Every piece of paper told the same story. While I'd been working 70-hour weeks, sleeping in truck cabs and eating cold gas station sandwiches, Dana had been planning her exit. Hotels in Minneapolis, jewelry purchases, wellness retreats that were nothing more than weekends away with Harold Jensen, our friendly neighbor, the man who used to borrow my tools, the man who offered to mow our lawn when I was out on long hauls, the man who texted me lies about seeing some guy at our house, while it was him. Betrayal stacked on betrayal. And still, I didn't break. I just kept building. Building my case. Building my strength. Building the life I'd forgotten I deserved. Late one night, Jeff found me at the kitchen table, laptop open, papers scattered. "You good?" he asked, rubbing the back of his neck like he wasn't sure he wanted the answer. I looked up, and for the first time in a long time, I didn't lie. "I'm getting there," I said. He smiled, clapped me on the shoulder. "That's all you gotta do, brother. Just keep moving." I thought about that a lot. Not sprinting, not winning, just moving. One step, then another. The court date was set. 6 weeks from the day I left the hospital. In the meantime, I lived quietly, helped Jeff rebuild his back fence, fixed up an old motorcycle gathering dust in his garage, took long walks at sunset, and somewhere along the way, the tightness in my chest eased. The anger cooled into something sharper, clearer. I wasn't just surviving anymore. I was preparing for the day Dana would have to look me in the eye and realize the man she thought she broke was still standing. Sam picked me up the next morning. I walked out of that hospital with a duffel bag, a new scar, and a heart stitched back together by machines, not love. Sam didn't say much on the drive. Didn't need to. Some things, you just feel. We got to his house. Small, a little messy, but real. The kind of place where people lived, not posed for Instagram. I dropped my bag in the spare room, collapsed on the old recliner in the living room. Sam handed me a cold beer. Neither of us drank it. We just sat there, the silence thicker than anything I could have said. Two brothers, one broken, one trying to help pick up the pieces. The first night was the hardest. Every creak of the house, every rattle of the old furnace. It all reminded me of what I'd lost, or maybe what I'd never really had. I stared at the ceiling until the sun came up. Didn't sleep, didn't cry, just existed. The next morning, I made a list. I didn't even think about it. Just picked up a pen and started writing. Get a lawyer, freeze accounts, check house paperwork, stay invisible, simple, cold, necessary. By noon, I had my first meeting lined up with Blake McCarthy, a lawyer Sam swore by. He's a bulldog, Sam said. You'll need one. I believed him. Before the meeting, I drove past my old house. Our house. At least it used to be. Dana's car was there, and parked next to it, a silver BMW. Not mine. I didn't stop, didn't slow down. Just kept driving. Kept breathing. At Blake's office, I laid it all out. The bank account. The refinancing. The hospital stay. Blake listened without interrupting, scribbling notes on a yellow legal pad. When I finished, he leaned back and steepled his fingers. This isn't just a divorce, he said. This is a hostile takeover. And I was the asset being stripped down to nothing. He told me about the laws, about how Dana's timing, draining the account while I was incapacitated, looked very, very bad for her. How the refinancing gave me a stronger claim on the house. How with the right moves, I could walk away with more than just my pride intact. But only if I stayed smart and silent. Dana would come looking, begging, pleading. I had to resist. Play it like chess, Blake said, not poker. I nodded. Inside, I felt nothing. Not hope, not anger, just numbness. We set a plan. I would stay at Sam's, avoid contact, let Blake file the initial paperwork, petitions to freeze assets, protect property. Meanwhile, I started pulling my records, old bank statements, medical bills, work contracts, every piece of proof that I hadn't abandoned my marriage. It had abandoned me. 3 days after my meeting with Blake, the first text came. It was Dana. Cam, please. We need to talk. I didn't reply. That afternoon, another text. Longer. Desperate. You're blowing this out of proportion. I was scared. I made mistakes. But we can fix this. Still, I stayed silent. Sam watched me read the messages without saying a word. When the third text came, this one saying she missed me, that she still loved me, Sam finally spoke. She's not missing you, man. She's missing the stability you gave her. I nodded. I knew that. Somewhere deep down, I always had. That night, I drove past the house again. Same BMW, same strange feeling in my chest, like being homesick for a place that never existed. I parked 2 blocks away and just watched. Lights on inside, movement in the kitchen. And then, I saw them. Dana, and some man I didn't recognize, laughing, pouring wine, clinking glasses. My stomach twisted, but my hands stayed steady. I pulled out my phone, snapped a few pictures, time-stamped, date-stamped. Evidence, not for revenge, for survival. The next morning I sent them to Blake. No words, no explanation, just the truth, captured frame by frame. Blake replied within minutes. Good, very good. This changes everything. I didn't know it then, but those photos would become my shield and my sword. because the real battle was just beginning. 2 days later, Dana made her next move. She showed up at Sam's house. No warning, no call, just her battered white SUV pulling into the driveway. Sam was at work. It was just me. She knocked once, twice, then started pounding. "Cam, I know you're in there. We need to talk." I didn't move, barely breathed. She kept going. "You can't ignore this forever. We're married." Her voice cracked on that last word. Married. Funny how she remembered that now, after draining our accounts, after replacing me like a broken appliance. After 5 minutes, the pounding stopped. Another minute, and her car pulled away. I watched from behind the curtain, expressionless. Later that night, I got another text. "I made a mistake. Please, can we just meet once?" I showed it to Blake. "Don't respond," he said. "She's not reaching out because she regrets it. She's reaching out because she's losing control." He was right. I wasn't the same man who had walked into that hospital, still believing in her. I was someone else now. Someone she didn't recognize. The next morning, Blake called with news. The emergency motion to freeze assets. Granted. That meant Dana couldn't touch the money she'd stolen, couldn't sell property, couldn't hide anything. We had her boxed in. But Blake wasn't done. "I filed for discovery," he said. "She'll have to disclose all her financials, all her activities, and..." He hesitated. "And what?" Blake sighed. "She's already hired a pit bull lawyer, Patricia Wells, aggressive, ruthless." I leaned back in the chair. "Good," I said. "Means they're scared." Blake smiled grimly. "They should be." Over the next week, I gathered everything. Photos, texts, copies of bank statements, every thread of betrayal woven into a net I could throw over her lies. Sam watched me work night after night at the kitchen table. He didn't say much, just kept the coffee pot full. That's what brothers do. On the 10th day, a letter came. Certified. From Dana's lawyer. It was thick, official-looking. Inside, accusations, wild ones. Claiming I had abandoned her, that I had financially trapped her, that I had emotionally abused her. I almost laughed. Almost. Instead, I took a deep breath, snapped a picture of the letter, and sent it to Blake. "Expected," he texted back. "Don't take the bait." I wouldn't. I'd learned my lesson. The old me would have defended myself, begged her to remember the good times, pleaded for her to see the truth. The new me, I just built my case, brick by brick, photo by photo, lie by exposed lie. The best revenge wasn't yelling, it wasn't screaming, it was letting the truth do the shouting for me. The court date arrived faster than I expected. I showed up in my best suit, the one I'd worn to weddings, funerals, and now, my own war. Dana was already there, sitting with her lawyer. Perfect hair, perfect nails, perfect mask. When she saw me, her face tightened. For a moment, I saw it. The fear. Good. We sat on opposite sides of the courtroom, not speaking, not looking, just waiting. Judge Harmon entered, grim, sharp-eyed, the kind of man who could smell lies from a mile away. Blake stood first. "Your Honor, we present evidence that Mrs. Doyle withdrew all marital funds while Mr. Doyle was incapacitated from a medical emergency." He handed over the hospital records, the bank statements, the medical report showing I had been unconscious, while Dana emptied everything. Judge Harmon frowned, deeply. Then Patricia Wells rose. "Your Honor, Mrs. Doyle was under immense emotional stress. She believed Mr. Doyle had abandoned her." Blake didn't even blink. He handed over the text Dana had sent me, the one with the bank balance, and the words, "I deserve this." The judge read it twice, slowly. He looked up, expression flat. "Doesn't sound abandoned to me," he said dryly. Dana shifted in her seat. I sat still, steady, letting the truth crush her, without ever raising my voice. Then Blake dropped the hammer. "We also discovered a secret account, Your Honor, opened by Mrs. Doyle 18 months ago, deposits matching Mr. Doyle's long-haul schedule." He handed over the documents. The judge's eyebrows rose. "This was not an accident," Blake said. "This was not desperation. It was a plan." Patricia Wells tried to object. Judge Harmon waved her off. "I've heard enough." He turned to Dana. "Mrs. Doyle, your actions show a clear pattern of financial deceit, manipulation, and bad faith." He shuffled the papers once more. "In light of the evidence, the court rules in favor of Mr. Doyle." I exhaled, quietly. Blake leaned over, whispered, "You just won. Not everything, not every penny, but enough, more than enough." The judge awarded me the house, the truck, 80% of our joint assets. Dana got her car, and nothing else. The secret account? Frozen. To be split after my legal fees were paid from her share. I didn't smile, didn't gloat. I just nodded, stood up, and walked out, leaving Dana sitting there, staring at the wreckage she'd created. 3 months later, I moved back into the house, my house now. It felt different, quieter, emptier, but somehow more mine. The first thing I did was change the locks. The second was repaint the living room, fresh walls, fresh start. I heard from Dana once, through her lawyer, a final settlement document, cold, formal, no apology, no explanation, just signatures and silence. Harold, gone, sold his house, disappeared, coward, good riddance. I sold the house 6 months later, too many memories clinging to the walls, bought a smaller place, closer to Jeff and Megan, closer to family that mattered, used some of the money to help Megan with law school. She's going to be a hell of an attorney someday. Sharp, kind, everything Dana wasn't. I don't drive long haul anymore, doctor's orders, heart can't take it. But I found work dispatching. Home every night, dinner at the table, a real life. Some nights when it's quiet, I think about the old life. The road, the endless miles, the woman who thought she could take everything, and I realize she didn't destroy me. She freed me. She forced me to rebuild, stronger, smarter, unbreakable. Last week, I was cleaning out a box in the garage. Found our wedding album. I sat there, dust on my jeans, turning the pages. Picture after picture, smiles, laughter, promises, all lies. I thought about throwing it away, but I didn't. I closed it, put it back. Not because I missed her, but because it's part of my story, a chapter, not the ending. I survived a heart attack. I survived betrayal. And today, I'm still here, still standing, still moving forward, and every mile I walk now is mine, not hers.